Aloha, I'm Reverend Tim Lytle, Senior Minister here at Unity Church of Hawaii in Honolulu. And we are so grateful for all of you who watch us on our YouTube channel. We know with you that as you view these teachings and apply them to your lives, that it helps to build your life into the very best one that can be imagined. If you're ever in the area, please come and join us for a service, and please enjoy the message that you're about to watch. Aloha.
Open up and let your light shine.
Awesome. Thank you, Harold Payne, Dan Del Negro, Kevin, Dean, Bonnie B in the house on the drums. All right, good to have you all here. Thank you for being here. Well, that's good. You know, a little reggae type feel there. Keeping the light in doesn't work very well. Your light is wanting to express. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, that you are the light of the world. Now, he was not talking to a select group of people. He was talking to just a mass of hundreds, thousands of people who had collected. And he said, you are the light of the world. Not just the people who have certain special qualities, but each one of us has come into this world to be the light. So it's up to us to let it shine on. You are here to shine brightly. I like what Marianne Williamson said, that it's not the fear of failure that we face, but the fear of our own light. Your light is that presence of God within you that is here to shine. And we are here to allow it, to encourage it. And by spiritual practice, we can take away some of that dirt and some of that stuff that's been covering it up so that that real light can shine forth. Because you're amazing. Repeat after me. It's part of the practice, okay? Repeat after me. I am amazing. The presence of God is in me. The presence of God is living itself as me. When I see myself in the mirror, I say, I'm amazing. Now just let that soak in. That's part of the practice. Some people wonder, what do we mean by affirmations and denials? Well, an affirmation is like what we were just doing there. That's a way to do a treatment on our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind has lots of programming. Because we've come into this material conditioning, into this world, we have all this programming that people have laid on us. Sometimes it's the programming of, you're not enough, you'll never measure up. Sometimes it's the programming of, oh, you need to do this and do more and do that and do this. Whatever the programming is for you, the presence of God wants to clean and clear up that programming. Have you ever had a computer that had all these viral programs going on and it was just weighing down? You know, one time I turned on my computer and pictures started to pop up, and trust me, they were not pictures that I wanted to download. That's what happens in our mind when we are just sleepwalking in this material conditioning, not aware that even our own thoughts are not ours. Because we're in this soup of human consciousness, and we're just trying to find our way home, to find out who we really are. So we're looking today at the yoke's on you. I'm just yoking. The yoke's on you. A yoke is something that, is put on oxen or bulls or whatever to pull a plow or to pull a cart. And the idea of it, you can see that pictured here, is they're in union with whatever it is they're pulling. And that's really where that word yoke comes from. It's to be united. Now, if you take the word back far enough, I love to study words. And if you take the word back far enough, if you go through the Latin and go through the German and go through all that, and get back there to the Sanskrit word for yoke is, thank you. The first service didn't know this. Maybe you all are just much more awake. The Sanskrit word is yoga. That's the Sanskrit word for yoke. Yoga. It means union, to be connected with. And so yoga is a means of connecting with the divine, connecting with our true self, being in union. And so we want to look at something Jesus said. All right? This comes from Matthew chapter 11. Come to me, and I will give you rest. And I forgot to say this. So, everybody comes into this world with a yoke. It's just that some people's yoke is really, really heavy. I mean, sometimes you look at a person and you can tell their yoke is heavy. It's like, how are you doing? I'm fine. Are you sure? Yeah, pretty good. And they're so used to it, they don't even know the difference until, every one of us has a yoke. But what Jesus is saying here, come to me and I will give you rest, all of you who work so hard beneath a heavy yoke. I like the translations to say, take my yoke upon you. And I like translating that to its meaning, take my yoga upon you. Take my path, take my discipline, this life of bhakti, this life of service, this life of devotion, this life of really being open and completely surrendered to God, because that is our true nature. Our true nature is that divine presence. And when we are just trying to immerse ourselves in distractions, and I'm not against entertainment, I'm not against money, I'm not against material stuff, but when that is what our life is centered around, we find ourselves being miserable and just wanting more and more and more, thinking that somehow that will cure us. But the fact is, we do not experience true joy until we come into alignment with our true nature. Our true nature is divine. It's not until we come into alignment with that and surrender to it and open ourselves to it that we find real joy. So that's what Jesus is talking about. Wear my yoke, take my yoga upon you. I like this part, for it fits perfectly. Have you ever tried to do something that just didn't fit? You thought you'd try it, and then you thought, man, I'm never going to do this again. Jesus says, it fits perfectly. Let me teach you, for I am gentle and humble, and you shall find rest for your souls, for I give you only light burdens. That is, this is a spiritual path. Okay, we're doing the practice, all right? So, here's another affirmation of a sort. And I'll say it first, and then you will say it together, okay? You ready? Spirituality is not a spectator sport. Let's say that together. Spirituality is not a spectator sport. Let's say it again. Spirituality is not a spectator sport. Thank you. Oh, you did that so beautifully. As you will hear in the town hall meeting, in a little while, I'll be talking some about looking at the idea of being a mission-centric church. That is, where everything that we do and everything that we decide and how we meet and how we relate to each other is all centered in a mission that pulls all of us in the same direction. Like I was explaining to some people this last week, when I worked in psychiatry for 12 years, I was under clinical supervision of a PhD psychologist and a nurse specialist in psychiatry. And so the psychologist had been studying dog psychology. You got a dog? Okay. So, dogs in the backyard, one of them's chewing the siding off the house. One of them is chasing its own tail. They're sometimes barking at each other or fighting with each other. That's how people are when they don't have a common mission. Chasing their own tail, fighting with each other, chewing the siding off the house. Get it? So, now, I'm vegetarian, okay? I don't wish any harm to animals, but just to stay with the story. So, the psychologist said, but you take a squirrel and you throw the squirrel into the yard with all these dogs. Suddenly they're on point. Suddenly they all have a common mission. Suddenly they're all united. They're not fighting with each other. They're not like trying to, let's discuss 25 different ways of doing things. They're all on target. That's mission-centric. In case you wondered what mission-centric means. So, the practice of spirituality is orienting ourselves around our spiritual mission, our spiritual path. Today is the disappearance day of Haridasa Thakur. Now, disappearance day, like when he made his transition, when he passed from this life. Haridasa Thakur was a very unique guy. He had grown up in a Muslim family, Muslim home, and he became enamored with Krishna consciousness and started chanting. And he would chant the names of God 300,000 times a day before he would eat. Yeah? I mean, that's pretty disciplined, I think. Yeah, that's a lot. And, some of us think 16 rounds is a lot. So, the person who was in charge of that area, one of the Muslim leaders, this is about 500 years ago, called him in and said, "What's this? Are you changing face on us? Have you become Hindu? What's up with this?" Now, Haridasa Thakur said, "Hey," now this is all in my own words, okay? "Hey, chill. It's like anybody who is following their spiritual path and addressing God, however they are doing it in their spiritual path, whatever that name for God is, they are addressing the same God. There's only one God, so what are you all upset about?" Well, because he said, yeah, but I'm still upset at you, so either stop doing it or I'm going to kill you. There's a moment of decision. What is my real mission? What am I really willing to live for or die for, And again, in my own words, Haridasa Thakur said, "Well, you can chop me up in 1,000 different pieces, but I'm going to still keep chanting." And so the leader had him taken out, and the leader said to the soldiers, "Beat this guy to death, would you? Beat him to death." And so they beat him, and they thought he was dead. And I thought, think he's Hindu, so let's throw him in the Ganges. So they throw him in the Ganges River. He makes this amazing recovery and comes back. And at this point, the leader that had ordered him to be killed, he's like, I'm so sorry. I was messed up. I'm so sorry. And other people came and apologized and all that. Now, my point in telling that story is, how strong is your practice? Are you consistent? Is it a daily practice? Like, do you have a daily time of meditating? Do you have a daily time of spiritual reading? Are there ways in which you're practicing? I used to play basketball. Well, I still do when I have the chance. And I would practice for hours and hours. I lived in Wichita, Kansas, and in wintertime, there's ice on everything, ice on the backboard. I'm out there. I'm practicing outside with a coat on or whatever. I'm practicing hours and hours so that it would become natural. Spiritual practice is about uncovering that which is already in us and is desiring to come out and desiring to express and desiring to touch this world. We tend to live in a spectator society. We love to watch sports, We love to watch people. We love to be entertained. There's so much wonderful entertainment here in Honolulu, isn't there? Wonderful entertainment. And I think sometimes that kind of seeps into our spirituality, where we expect for someone to do all the work for us and puree it for us and then serve it to us with a silver spoon. Spirituality doesn't work that way. Again, let's say that statement. Spirituality is not a spectator sport. It's about our individual practice, pursuing our path, taking that yoga upon us, that yoga of service. I don't know if you're called to come Saturday or not, or if you're called to be one of the hospitality people that are ushers and greeters, or to work in the kitchen, or however you may serve in the community or serve people in your lives. But service is a part of how we unlock and unleash that mighty potential within us. It's part of how we grow. It's by volunteering that I ended up getting back in the pastoral ministry. But don't let that scare you. Remember we sang that song, Yes, God, Yes? Be open. Say yes. Allow it. Just allow the process. So service, our sacred study. If you're wondering, well, I don't know how to meditate. I don't know how to chant. I don't know how you do this stuff. Hey, we have classes. We have teachers. We talked today about SEE classes. Those are excellent means of study. There are those of us who would love to work with you one-on-one or refer you to places where you can learn. Hey, that's what we're here to do, is to help you to unfold and to awaken and to be your true spiritual self. That's why we're here. All the other stuff, like money and business and all those decisions, those are important. And they are subservient to our true mission to help people to awaken. If it doesn't have anything to do with that, I kick it out and I rebuke it. This is nothing to mess with. We're not here for entertainment, and offering is not the tip. Well, unless you tip like 20% or something. Anyway, we are here to practice spiritually. I found myself saying a couple of times today, introducing myself to people and then explaining that I'm the minister here. But as soon as I say that, there's this niggle, this thing inside of me that's like, so each time I said it, I said, well, all of us are ministers. And I'm the guy who talks up front. But all of us are ministers. All of us are here to minister. All of us are here to unleash that potential. All of us are here for the spiritual journey. Until we are on our spiritual path, it's very, very difficult to find our way home, because home is God. That's our essence. You're not going to find it in entertainment. Entertainment's great, but you're not going to find it there. We're here to be completely submitted and open to the presence of God. I'm going to tell one more story. Second service, I have a little more time. Okay, so I study this series of books. Okay, this series of books. I mean, there's volumes and volumes of them from these Sanskrit Vedic scriptures, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad what? Anyway, Srimad Bhagavatam. And so in Canto 8, we just celebrated this guy. Okay. There is this wonderful incarnation that came into our world. Anamadeva. And he came as this brahmachari, like this priest-like looking guy, but short, a dwarf. But he was actually the presence of God. He was Vishnu, he was Krishna. And so he's talking to this ruler that ruled, oh my goodness, all the universe and stuff. And this person who, even though he is from a family of demons, it's a great story. You ought to get into these. They're cool. And he said, hey, I'll give you whatever you want. And he said, oh, I only want to take whatever I can get in 3 steps. 3 steps. That's all I want. Oh, you're not asking wisely. That's not enough. Anyway, I'm going to shorten this story. So in the first 2 steps, he encompassed all of the entire universe. And then he's coming to the king and he's like, well, what's up? 2 steps, I got everything, the whole universe, and you promised me 3. He had him arrested. Now, it's all part of the deal. It was bringing forth his devotion, okay? So, here is Bali Maharaj. He's tied up with these snake ropes. And he said, okay, you took everything, all of the universe with 2 steps. With your 3rd step, take me. Put your foot on my head. Take me. I love that story because it's about completely surrendering to our spiritual path, being completely available instead of holding back. What are we holding back for? I mean, I don't get it. What? I mean, you think you can take it like your money or your entertainment with you? I don't know. Do you? What are we holding back for? Why not be all that we are created to be? Why not make this life the one where we are completely exploding with the love, the light of God? Why not make this life the one that counts? Why not go all out and take the yoke upon ourselves? The yoke's on you. Aloha.